Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. It is time for some Texas craziness. The governor of Texas, newly appointed governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has kind of, caved in to pressure from many Texans. And he called in the Texas National Guard to watch the U.S. military, to monitor U.S. military training exercises that are happening in Texas. The exercise was called Jade Helm 15. And as soon as conspiracy theorists and crazies found out about this training exercise, one of many that are happening all over the country, they started speculating that this is possibly a hostile takeover of the country, as ridiculous as that may sound. And I guess 200 people were packed into a meeting in Texas, and they questioned a U.S. Army commander about if this was about confiscating guns and implementing martial law. Bastrop County Judge Paul Pape said conspiracy theorists and fearmongers had been in a frenzy. And then Abbott just kind of went along with this. Did you think he did it just to kind of placate the fearmongers and the conspiracy theorists?
I honestly don't know. My reaction when I read this was, if you thought Rick Perry was crazy, you should see what Greg Abbott is doing. I don't know. It seems like it's a very expensive way to just placate conspiracy theorists, to activate the Texas National Guard.
Yeah. Pape also said, it's sad when people's greatest fear is their own government. Think about the ramification of that. If Americans go to sleep at night worrying whether their own government is going to sell them out before morning, it'd be hard to sleep. And unfortunately, I think many people suffer from that. And it's Alex Jones's fault here in Texas, partially. I think we could say that.
Yeah, he's certainly agitating that kind of contingent.
Yeah. So, like I said, these training exercises are happening all over, and what the military said that they are simply trying to have these training exercises in areas that are similar to different areas overseas or in other countries where they might need to operate. And that makes perfect sense to me. I don't think anything funny is going on here, but there was a story similar to this that happened maybe 2 years ago, maybe more, and I think you'll probably remember, where the military created kind of like a fake city.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were conducting exercises there, and people were saying the exact same thing. They're going to take our guns. This is a hostile takeover. They're practicing for martial law. Yeah, this story, once again, just really highlights that most conservatives live in fear. They fear things. That portion of their brain is far more active, as studies have shown, and this is what happens.
This is certainly fear-based. This is certainly fear-based, period.
Can you imagine just being afraid of everything? And try to be aware of this next time you are debating with someone, you are having a conversation with someone about politics, about things like this. I've noticed that it is true that those on the right, they fear criminals, so they have guns. They fear immigration and all that job stuff. They're terrified of that, and that's why they don't want any immigration. They are afraid of their own government. They are afraid of Obama. They are afraid of atheists. They are afraid of abortion. They are afraid of gay marriage. They're afraid of everything. And it does not seem like a pleasant way to live.
It's a scary world out there.
Yes, that it is. Another Texas story. More Texas chaos. A gay couple has been kicked out of a Texas Airbnb rental. So what happened was, now this is not an anti-Airbnb story. Let me make that clear. That will be revealed as I cover all the details. We like bed and breakfast, said Jonathan Wang. The home was very gorgeous. The home was in Galveston. He said he fell in love with the rental very quickly and booked a 2-night stay at about $140 a night. His partner, Brent, was with him. They were in town for a wedding. So they went in and took a tour of the house on their own. Everything looked very nice, he said. After unpacking their bags, heading to the wedding reception, they returned to the bed and breakfast and began speaking to the owner. Heather, I guess was the name of the owner, asked me where my wife was. Who is this person? I said it was my significant other, Brent. She said, I thought you were bringing a wife. I said, I didn't say that specifically. I said, is this going to be okay? She said, it's not. She told them to get out, and they had to pack their bags. She made some comments, I guess, under her breath that made it clear that she hated gays. And then they were on the street. Every hotel around was booked, but I guess this guy is an airline pilot, and he just was able to call in a favor and get lodging somewhere. And Heather said that she was within her legal rights and morals, or legal realms and morals, as she puts it. And they, I guess, asked if she rents to gay couples, and she said that that's none of your business. This is my private home. I guess perhaps not wanting to address to the media that she does not like gays. And I guess her home description read that it's straight friendly.
Yeah, fortunately, Airbnb doesn't tolerate this. They kicked her off of Airbnb. They refunded the renter the money, and they paid for the one night of lodging that he ended up having to get because he wasn't allowed to stay at this woman's place. They were like, yeah, we don't tolerate hate. We don't tolerate bigotry. You're just out. And I think Airbnb doing a great job of getting ahead of the PR nightmare, right? Because if they don't do this, then they start getting asked, well, what's the Airbnb policy on this? And then what do you allow others to have as a policy? They just said, you're out. We don't tolerate this. Airbnb is doing great. They don't need anti-gay lodging to be available, you know?
Yeah, they handled this perfectly, and I guess everything worked out. But just another Texas story that really does not make the state look good.
No.
But that's Galveston. I think Galveston has a lot of that, unfortunately. Here's a study that is funny, and I think the results of the study are really going to be no surprise to anyone. But men with multiple wives are more likely to suffer heart attacks and just have the general heart problems. And I have to say, this doesn't surprise me at all. Does it surprise you?
It doesn't, no, but I think maybe the reasons, it's interesting to look at the explanations.
I think the same would be true of women who had multiple husbands. I'm not saying that the more women in your life, the more likely you are to have a heart attack. But the study was presented at the Asian Pacific Society of Cardiology Congress 2015 in Abu Dhabi.
Naturally.
Yep. And and there's a quote here. We found an association between an increasing number of wives and the severity and number of coronary blockages. This could be because the need to provide and maintain separate households multiplies the financial burden and emotional expense, said Dr. Amin Daoula. And it's really not that shocking.
I had another idea, though. Like, this was the obvious thing, which is just like, it's obviously really stressful to manage multiple households, financial issues. Oftentimes when you're in these situations, the financial aspect of supporting multiple homes is a big issue. But there was another thing I thought of, which is maybe it's a result of overeating, in the sense that, hey, you've got all these different places where presumably everybody wants to have a meal with you. And they're probably on some kind of a schedule, like it's Mondays and Tuesdays with wife number one and Tuesdays and Thursdays with wife number two. But imagine if you have to go between the homes and have meals at multiple homes every day. I could see how that could be bad for heart health.
That is an interesting theory that could play a part in this. The risk increased with the number of wives, of course. They also found, the study found that 56% of men had diabetes, 57% hypertension, 45% suffered from CAD. Oh, what is CAD? Oh, coronary artery disease, right?
Yeah.
So diabetes here as well.
I
So
wonder though if there's a cause effect correlation causation thing. Could we hypothesize about any reason why men with multiple wives would be more likely to have these conditions, but not because of the multiple wives? Like, why might men who have these conditions be more likely to be the ones with multiple wives? I can't really think of why, but I wonder if there's some explanation there.
a few more details on those men. Men with more than one wife are more likely to be older, live in a rural area, have a higher income, and have a history of coronary artery bypass grafting. Now, there it is. That's pretty much everything. I guess the moral of the story is be monogamous because
Seems to be better for health.
some people say that we are not meant to be monogamous. Now, that may be true, but if we are not meant to be monogamous, then certainly we shouldn't be marrying multiple people, right?
Yeah, it seems that it seems like two separate things. Is the human species meant to be monogamous at its inherent core? And there may not even be an answer to that, but there are people who say evolutionarily you could make the case one way or the other. Separate from that, though, is if you come to the conclusion that monogamy is not something inherent to humans, that's separate from saying the way to not be monogamous is to be in legal marriages with multiple women at the same time, in the case of these men who are not healthy. Kind of two separate things.
Yeah. I mean, that's not monogamy, but it's not really, it's almost not even polyamory either, right?
Right, because it's just the man who's having the multiple relationships with the women. It's not that as a society they're saying, oh, everybody has multiple relationships. It's no, men have multiple wives, period.
Yeah, and it's still considered adultery if you are with a woman who you are not married to, even though you may be married to 5 women. Anyway, it's all very stupid. And that's what I think about that. I guess the monogamy or polygamy or polyamory thing is a different discussion. But yeah, watch out for your heart. David, anything to add?
Nothing else.
All right.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.